Welcome to the Home Team Sacramento podcast. I'm Josh Takimoto, and tonight I will be talking about legacy. Just talking about legacy. Like we focus so much on leaving legacies, building legacies. We talk about it all the time in sports, right? It's something that's a consistent conversation on Sports Center and all of the First Take, whatever your favorite show is. This idea of legacy seems to be a focal point in all of those shows and all of the debates, right? For years, it's been who's better, who's the GOAT, Jordan or LeBron, who has the better resume, who has the better legacy, right? Tom Brady, he keeps playing he's probably gonna play until he's like 60 years old. But each year he plays, he seems to continue to add something to his legacy, another part of his legend. Every single year, he does something to add to it. Serena Williams, who we just found out is going to probably be hanging him up pretty soon, has an incredible legacy that she's leaving behind for the world of tennis. An incredible career, has done some amazing things, and that legacy that she's leaving behind is a huge focus of the conversation right now. Whatever your favorite sport is, whatever sport you love, you can pick an athlete, you can pick a coach. When they've done it for as long as they have, and they've done it at a high level, at a certain point, it's not just, oh man, this person had a really good season last year, or they're having a good season this year. At a certain point, the conversation shifts from they've had a good season to how are they building on top of this incredible legacy that they're leaving behind for their sport? What is this doing for the next generation? How are they building a new road for the new era of their sport? Like, it comes down to a certain point, it comes down to our legacy. Like, what does our legacy look like when it's all said and done? What is it going to look like when we get to the end of the road, the end of our sport? You want to go bigger, like the end of our life. When we look back, what is our legacy going to be? What kind of legacy are we leaving for the people that are coming behind us? It's a big question, but I think it's something that's really important to keep in mind, because obviously at the end of your life, you can look back and think about all the things you've done. But I think it's important for us to live with the future in mind, right? Live today with the future in mind, because the decisions we make today, the small daily decisions that we make to be the best versions of ourselves, are critical to the legacy that we leave. Now, not every decision that we make is legacy altering, right? Not every decision we make is a legacy defining decision. Sometimes it's just a decision to work hard. Sometimes it's the decision to show up on time, to be the best version of yourself, to be the best mother or father, to be the best sister or brother, to be the best teammate. Sometimes it's just those small decisions that aren't legacy defining, but what they do is they're carving out a lane that's leading to the legacy that you want to leave. So I think we've got to step back and look at that and say, okay, is this heading in the direction that I want it to? Are my daily decisions building a legacy that I'm going to be proud of at the end of the day? And also, the decisions I'm making today, are they preparing me to make the bigger decisions that I could be facing tomorrow? When those larger decisions, when those crucial decisions in your life come and face you and stand in front of you, are we ready to make those decisions? Are we ready to make wise choices in that moment? Are we going to be able to step up in the moment, because all of the daily habits and the daily decisions that we've made up until that point have prepared us for it? Because we could get to a point where we look at this path that we carve out daily and realize there's certain things we don't really like about what we're doing. Maybe we don't put our full effort in the classroom. Maybe we've just kind of skated by and haven't done that much work and haven't put in that much effort in that area of our life. Well, that to me, that says something about us as people. That says something to us about us as athletes. Because we're not putting that effort in. It makes me question your work ethic. You want to work hard when it's convenient, but not when it's necessary. That's something that's going to eventually catch up to you as you're building this legacy that you're trying to leave. Maybe you don't put in the full effort. Maybe you're a bad teammate. Maybe you're not picking teammates up. Maybe you're tearing them down. That's going to be a part of your legacy. And although it may not seem like a big deal in the moment, at some point, it's going to hit a breaking point. And those small decisions, those small negative decisions that we make are going to add up. And eventually it's going to be crippling in a certain area of our life. And so, even though, like I said, every decision is not life altering, every decision is not legacy defining, every decision should be treated as important. Like I said, we have to live in the moment for our legacy tomorrow, because what we do today impacts tomorrow. We got to learn from the past. We have to live in the moment, and we have to prepare for the future. And, something I feel is, really important to remember. And I know that some of this may sound cheesy, may sound cliche. It's not meant to be, but the bottom line is I think a lot of this stuff is true. And one of the things that I think is so crucial for us to remember is that it takes multiple consistent moments and decisions, daily decisions, to build a legacy that we're going to be proud of. But it only takes one bad decision to completely tear all of that down. In one moment, we can lose everything we had because we made a bad decision. And I'm not talking about failure as a part of life. Failures are going to happen. We have to learn from the failures. We have to grow from the failures, and we have to move on. And if you can grow and learn from your failures, then it's not really a failure, right? It's a learning opportunity. But there's going to be moments and decisions that will be legacy defining for the good and for the bad. And if we're not prepared, that one moment could completely change our life, could completely change our legacy. It could change everything. And so that's why it's so important to make the right decisions daily, to have solid character to help you make those decisions every single day that are the best version of yourself, that lead to the best version of yourself. We have to make sure that we're making decisions that are going to build up a better future for us and for the people around us. And sometimes it's easy to make the easy decision in the moment, but not always. The easy decision isn't always the best decision, right? Sometimes the easy decision is one that's going to eventually hurt us down the road. And so, as athletes, as coaches, as people, are we able and willing to make the difficult decision today to build a better future for tomorrow? Are we willing to make the hard decision, the one that's not convenient, but it's right? Are we willing to make that decision because we know how it's going to lead to a better legacy that we leave behind for the people who come behind us? I think it's a really important thing to keep in mind. Again, it probably sounds cliche, but it's just the truth. And we see it all the time in sports, right? And these athletes who get crazy famous have an amazing career ahead of them. Maybe they've had a career that's been incredible. And they make one bad decision in their personal life. They make one bad decision that completely derails everything that they worked for. Maybe we've seen it before. I mean, you look at this past season with the Raiders. Henry Ruggs III had his whole NFL career ahead of him. Now he's locked up because of a bad decision he made. One bad decision basically erased every rep that he put in high school and in college. Every moment that he was living that was leading to this moment where he got drafted and was going to play in the NFL, achieve a dream that he had probably had forever, all thrown away because of one bad decision. One bad decision, lost it all. And there's so many other situations like this, right? Like, for example, I'm a huge baseball fan. You have Fernando Tatis Jr. right now. Who knows what they're still working on figuring out all of that. Who knows what exactly is going on there? But obviously got popped for steroids, 80 game suspension, not great. And it's one of those things that, If we're assuming that he took it willingly, that's a legacy defining thing. Now he may go on to have come back and have a great career, but there's always going to be that mark that's left behind because of a bad decision he made. Doesn't matter what he had done like last year or the year before, and this incredible, this incredible run that he had. It's always gonna be marred by this decision, this bad decision. And that's where the character comes in. It's sometimes those decisions we're faced with are challenging, and they are gonna be life changing, life altering decisions. But we have to make sure we have the character in that moment that can guide us through those decisions. Like, do you have the character and the integrity inside of you that's going to help you make the right decision in a really difficult time when maybe the wrong decision is the easiest, the most convenient? Maybe it seems like it's the quickest road to success. Are you willing to continue to make the right choice, even if the easy choice is available? And something I heard quite a few years ago from Jerry Manuel, who was a former Major League Baseball manager and who is the founder of Alpha Charter School, the baseball team out there. He said something that I thought was just incredible. It's always stuck with me. I was at a character combine event, the first time I had ever attended a character combine event, and they had some amazing speakers, but his talk always stuck out with me. He was talking about the foundation of character. He was talking about the foundation that we set for our lives as athletes, as coaches, as people. That foundation has to be strong. Just like with a house, a foundation has to be strong because everything that's built on top of it is counting on the strength of the foundation. And he said, your foundation, as you continue to climb each level of your career or of your goals, as you continue to climb up and go up another level and another level, you have to make sure that your foundation is strong enough to withstand the weight of every level that you build on top of that foundation. So you might start off with just a one-story house. The foundation is strong enough to hold that one-story house. Well, what if you want to build a second story? Is the foundation still strong enough to go up another level? Maybe you're going from the high school level to the college level. Is your character, is your integrity, is who you are strong enough to withstand the pressures that come with that next level? Okay. You've succeeded at the high school level, you've succeeded at the college level. Okay, now maybe you're going pro. Is your character, is your foundation strong enough to withstand the pressure of all three of those levels that you've built? And on top of that, the money, the fame, the success, the notoriety, can your foundation still withstand all of that weight that is now standing on top of your foundation? I thought that was just an incredible way of looking at it. It's always stuck out with me. And I love how Coach Jerry Manuel put that. I think it's such an incredible example of how important our character is, how important our integrity is, how important it is to know who we are and be able to stand firmly on who we are in the moments of difficulty, in the moments of challenge and obstacles and pressure. Do you know who you are? And I believe that the foundation that we create, the foundation that we're building, again, I think it goes back to those small choices, those small decisions that we make are adding to our foundation. We're working and creating a foundation that is going to be able to withstand the pressures that come with the next responsibilities. Maybe you're a high school athlete right now and you won't play another down, another inning, another quarter in your life. Your career is going to stop at the high school level. But guess what? Pressures are still coming your way. You have future job pressures, future career pressures, future family pressures, financial pressures, future difficulties and challenges that you can't even predict. That foundation still applies. This is not just for sports. That foundation is meant for every area of life. It doesn't single out sports or it doesn't single out life. This foundation is meant for every area that we find ourselves in. Can your foundation support the challenges and the obstacles and the pressures that are coming our way? Hopefully you can answer yes. And maybe you're right in the middle right now trying to build and develop that foundation, but it's got to be a focus of ours because that foundation is what's going to hold up our legacy. And I would hate to see anybody's legacy crumble simply because they didn't take the time now to build the foundation that can withstand the weight of their legacy. And hopefully all of you, coaches, athletes, parents, teachers, whoever's listening to this, hopefully you have a legacy that's so weighty that it requires a tremendous foundation to stand on. Hopefully you have such a heavy, amazing legacy that you're leaving behind that it requires a foundation that's firm and strong because there's just so much there to hold and so much there to lose if it broke, but it's not going to break because that foundation is too strong. So, coaches, athletes, I hope you hear what I'm saying. I know it's probably a little bit long winded. Sometimes on these solo podcasts, I'm gonna be honest with you. Sometimes on these solo podcasts, I'm still trying to learn and trying to figure out how to do this correctly. Not even correctly. I'm just trying to figure out how to do it effectively, I guess, because it's a lot easier for me to have a conversation with someone than me just to ramble about a topic. But hopefully you guys understand what I was trying to get at here. Leaving a legacy, leaving something behind that's going to make the people that you love proud. One of my favorite quotes that I've heard. Let me pull it up here really quick. Yeah, one of my favorite quotes is the name on the front represents. So we're talking about jerseys, right? We're talking about jerseys and the legacy that you leave behind, right? And who you represent. Again, home team. We're talking about the home team of Sacramento. All of us, anybody who's listening to this plays for a team, maybe a school. And obviously you have a name on the jersey, your school's name, your school's mascot's on the jersey, right? And so I saw this quote a while ago, and I just thought it was a perfect representation of legacy. And it says, the name on the front represents who you play for. The name on the back represents who raised you. Do them both justice. And I love that because I think that's such a cool thing, because obviously when you represent your school, when you represent your town, the name on that front of that jersey means something. I've said it before, when we go out, amongst our community, a lot of times people know who the athletes are. They can recognize, oh, that person's wearing a Casa Robles sweatshirt. Oh, that person's wearing a Kennedy High School hat. That person's wearing Sheldon shorts. I mean, we, like, as athletes, we wear that stuff all the time, right? So we're pretty recognizable, and people know that we play for certain teams, right? They're familiar with the logos and the schools that are in the nearby area. So what you wear, the name on that jersey means something. Like you are a representative of your school, of your city. And I personally don't take that lightly. Like, I think that's a really amazing privilege that we have to represent our schools and our communities, the people, the place that we grew up, the place that raised us. We have an opportunity to represent them. And I think we need to do that justice by living and competing at the highest level. And on the flip side, on the back of the jersey, a lot of times it's your last name. Not every school has their last, or every jersey has their last name on it, but you get the idea. The jersey on the back represents who raised you. And I would hope that you would want to make those people proud, your parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents, siblings, everybody who's under that last name. Do it justice, make them proud, make that name represent something that's amazing. Make it something that it represents and does justice for the entire family name. And I get some people may be listening to this thinking, yeah, but you don't understand. Like, that family name means something different for me. It's not a positive thing. That name on my back is not something I'm crazy proud of. And I completely get that. That might be the case. And if that is the case, maybe this is an opportunity for you to completely flip the script and change what that name means. Maybe it's something that a lot of other people think the same thing that you think about that last name, where there's a lot of negative connotations when it comes to that last name and that family's legacy. Maybe this is your opportunity to completely flip the script and change what that name means to them. Maybe it's an opportunity for you to carve out a completely different lane because the lane that's being carved out by that family name maybe is not in the most positive direction. Maybe it's heading towards a legacy that's not something to be proud of. Maybe at this point, this is the point where you have the ability and the opportunity to carve out a different lane that veers off from where that legacy is going. And you have an opportunity to create a completely different legacy for that family name and for anybody who comes after you. It will be a name that they can be proud of and they want to do justice. So, anyways, I just wanted to toss that out there as well. That quote, I really like that. I'll say it one more time. The name on the front represents who you play for. The name on the back represents who raised you. Do them both justice. So, anyways, it's probably, like I said, a lot more long-winded than it was meant to be. But um, as always, I just appreciate everybody who listens. I appreciate everybody who's supporting the podcast. It means a lot to us, and we're just going to continue to build this thing up and continue to make this thing as good and great as it possibly can be. So make sure you guys follow us at Home Team Sac on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, probably TikTok at some point. Haven't done it, but at some point it'll probably be TikTok and YouTube as well. And you can subscribe to the podcast at your favorite podcast app, Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you listen to it. Check it out there. And then make sure you also check out our Facebook group for coaches. It's Home Team, just Home Team on Facebook. So make sure you check that out. And we just thank you so much, guys. And I appreciate it. And we will talk to you next week. See you.